what you call it? They don't have those no more. A phone book. I can sit up on a phone book.
We'll knock him out. Anyway, Kanecia, what were you saying?
All right, let's get started. We got a few people on, and hopefully people will build up as we keep watching. So, okay, welcome everybody to the Real and Real Estate Volume 2 for this year. We're doing it all about Black love, and of course, being that it's Black History Month, and we just had a holiday pass, I thought it would be a great idea to host this one with two very successful individuals, real estate investors, brokers, flippers, landlords, all that and above. So they're going to have a lot of information for us. We're going to hold the questions to the very end, you guys. So don't worry, we will get to any questions. And of course, this will be saved. So send it to your friends now, but tell them that I will be having it saved for later. So we're going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves. Ladies first, of course. And then we will get started.
Valyn Lyons, of course, broker, entrepreneur, and 14-year real estate agent, realtor in Atlanta. Investor, flipper, all of that with my partner in crime here, Mr. Lyons.
Trevor Lyons. I am, I guess, a flipper, real estate investor, and just an all-around entrepreneur.
Awesome, awesome. So just to get a little bit juicy in terms of, because this is, of course, about you guys being in real estate together, tell us a little bit of how the conversation really started in terms of you guys meeting and kind of finding out you both like real estate.
Well, we met because I sold him the house we live in now.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was his realtor.
Okay.
And he paid cash.
Oh, that makes sense. Was the whole time were y'all flirting with each other? The whole time you were selling the house?
Not really.
He kept talking about
Not really.
You know what? He was
There was. Go ahead.
He trusted me. That's what I like. Like, he trusted everything I said. He had like 10 houses. I would be like, nope, nope, nope. And he'd be like, okay. And that's the one, he used to listen to me.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, I had no idea what was going on out here. I just knew that I felt like Atlanta was going to be the place to be eventually anyway. Yeah. So coming from New York, everybody was saying Atlanta. I didn't know it was going to blow like this, but I did see that there was a future in Atlanta.
Oh, and he was a truly elite, y'all. He was a truly elite.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So how long have you been in Atlanta to see it grow to where it is now?
10, 11 years.
That's a good amount of time to be somewhere to really see. I feel like most people always say if you pick a city, they say watch it over the next 5 to 10 years, and I feel like
that's a fact. That's
so it probably looks way different than it did 10 years ago.
We bought townhouses for $4,500, $6,000.
Right at the time, that was the housing crash, and some of those areas now that are booming were areas that nobody even wanted to go to. But me coming from Brooklyn in the 80s and seeing that eventually when the people start to come and the real estate starts to get a little more stable and less inventory, then prices go up. So that's what exactly happened actually out here.
And he would be in New York and send me to look at a house, and I say, I'm not getting out the car. So I drive by, I'm like, don't look like no fire damage or no water damage from the outside, so let's buy it.
Right.
Yeah, truly it might be the new Tinder for real.
Right. But what happened too was that, some of those areas, it was just because of the demographics and everything that the houses were actually being sold for less than the material that it would cost to even build the house. Right. Yeah. So how can you sell a house for $7,000? You can't do nothing for $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, $20,000. Yeah. But these places had good bones, roof good.
And we rented them for 10 years. And we finally sold one of them for like $145 and paid $6,000 for it. Rented it for, I think I started renting it. He wanted to rent everything for $500, and I'm in the business. I'm like, no way. So rented it for $700, $800, $900, $1,100 over the course of 10 years, and then sold it for $145.
That's crazy.
And we only sold one.
Only sold one.
Oh, that's a lot.
I don't even know the math on that, but I know that's well over like making your money plus some. So, I mean, that's crazy to think that properties were that cheap comparable to now, where I've been in real estate 3 years. So that just seems unfathomable that a property could be that cheap. Nowadays, you're lucky if you get it that cheap if you buy like the tax deed or something, if you find one that way or whatever. But that's like a whole nother story. But that's insane. So we're gonna get started on what is y'all's first project, or what was your like first thing that you worked on together in real estate?
The first project is the one we sold, Arlington
Ave, which is over there in the West End, which now is like super hot.
But we couldn't hold on to it anymore because when the one-legged man pried the burglar bar open and stole the stackable washer and dryer, I told him we had to get rid of it.
So y'all were renting that one out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were ruthless, man. They were ruthless.
So your first project was a rental. How did you guys come about like deciding on what it would be, like renting?
Well, everything was going to be a rental because of the areas. Like we couldn't flip anything back then.
Yeah, there was no flip.
Okay.
So I asked him, what did you want to do? Do you want to flip or do you want to rent? And he said, I'm good with lifetime rentals. I'm like, okay, then we can buy over there, because if you want to flip, you're not flipping anything, because I can't help you flip nothing. So we rented. And that's just 2 years ago we sold it?
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, I couldn't do it anymore.
So
I mean, if we had held onto it, we could have probably sold it with $225 now.
225.
Yeah.
What'd you sell it for then?
$145.
145.
Dang, yeah, I could see that happening.
It would have just been
Especially
hard to
West
go.
End.
But see, in a situation like that too, here goes the catch-22 that you might not know, people don't actually think about, is the tax hit for the capital gains. Because that paying $7,000 and selling for $145, you have a capital gain of what, 139, something like that, 138. So
But then we could flip it into something else and buy it.
that was tough though.
Okay. Do you guys ever do 1031 exchanges?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so what was your first flip and what year did you get started on that one?
The first true flip, I guess, where I went in to think about flipping was the one in College Park, right?
No.
That's the only one we went in with the idea of buying to flip.
Because then we started buying them and pulling the equity out, because I got into this whole thing when the market started going up. I'm like, I didn't want to get rid of any more property. Let's hold on to everything, pull the equity out, let the tenant pay the mortgage and get free money. So we stopped flipping and we bought property based off of its value, fixed it up and rented it out, pulled the equity out and held on to it. So we really didn't flip anymore unless it was like a really good chunk of change and it could be quick. So College Park, we actually flipped, but we were almost held on to it and pulled the equity out and we went back and forth over. So we bought it for $18,000. We put 30 into it.
About 30.
And we could have sold it for 110, but because somebody be pressuring me, won't let me do my thing, we only sold it for like 85. Because somebody be on my neck.
So speaking of that, like, how do you guys get to started in terms of like, okay, do y'all just wake up and be like, all right, hey, it's a good day, I love you, you love me, let's buy a house? Or do y'all like plan it out? Do y'all set goals together? Like, do y'all do a vision board? I mean, because I do think
He never stops looking at houses.
I'm always looking.
He goes to sleep looking, he wakes up looking. If I roll over in the middle of the night and see a light, he's like, babe, look at this house. I'm like, do not do that to me. I'm sleeping.
I'm always stalking.
Always
stalking.
We are getting ready to buy a landlocked piece of land, and being that his wife is a real estate broker, he's the only person that can buy a piece of land that's landlocked, because I know how to build on a piece of land that's landlocked.
Gotcha.
So, but he's always looking.
Would you say that you guys kind of just piggyback off of each other's strengths in terms of who does what, and what would you say is your strength versus hers and so forth?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me tell you what he says. He's great at everything, and I just be hanging on, girl. I'm just here.
Nah. I think I don't know. I see things beforehand. I think I have a eye for vision, like what is gonna be a little bit better coming from the real estate market that I saw growing up and how things went and what I think could be coming. And she has the design eye all day. She also knows how to kind of factor in how to play that whole comps thing. Because what I might think is a good comp, she says, no, you can't use that or whatever. So the like real technical part of it, I gotta give it to her because I'm just like, I move on like a lot of like, I guess, emotions and just what I feel it could do. And I bank more on what I think the buyers will gravitate to. I believe there's gonna be a buyer.
And I'm always thinking about the appraiser.
Right.
and we're complete opposites. We bicker all day. Like he'll be like laughing at us because I'm like, no. He's like, yes. I'm like, no. And he doesn't want to spend the money, but I'll spend an extra $2,000 to get $10,000. But that $2,000 is gonna kill him. But I want the mudroom because I can get an extra $8,000 for the house with the mudroom. But the $1,500 is gonna take him to put the mudroom on it. He's dying.
Yeah. We don't agree that it would be $8,000.
I know I can get $8,000 because it's gonna the square footage. Like, and it's a waste of space. I'm like, just put the walls up, dude.
So one, let me just point out for everybody listening, because everybody's not versed in real estate lingo. So appraisal, you guys, is the person who assesses the value of the property. Just FYI. And then this leads into my next question as you guys kind of chit chat. It's the challenges. So for a couple going in with two people, it's one thing to have one person kind of make all the decisions. You just got to sink or swim. But how do you guys manage your decision making and the challenges presented? And then tell me one crazy challenge that both of you guys had to like jump in and like you didn't know if you were gonna make it, sink or swim kind of decision making.
Oh, we're always gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you know that gut. You ever get the like drop gut feeling of something?
Only
okay,
thing,
well, maybe not.
I'll say the only drop gut thing was when we was one flip that we weren't sure if it was gonna appraise.
I'm always sure because I actually run the comps. So what he does is try to make me commit to a number way ahead of time, like before we're getting ready to list. He wants the comps. I'm not doing that because we're not listing. So when we list 6 months out because of COVID and permits and stuff, it took forever to get houses done now. So I'm finally doing the comps. It's different than it was 6 months ago. So I'm fine, but he wants me to commit to something now, and I can give you what it is now, and then he doesn't like that number. I'm like, okay, well, let's just wait till we're ready.
But knowing it as you're going through the reno, you might know where you might need to, you could skimp a little bit and where you can't skimp. So depending on where you think the comps are going to be determines maybe what you put into something and what you may not.
But for him, because kitchens and bathrooms, you never skimp because that's what sells the homes.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always going to put the money there.
Yeah, agree. I do too. Because that's what a woman sees when she walks in the house. And most times, even if it's the guy buying it, it's the woman's vision. And where does she spend most of her time? I spend all of my time in the bathroom.
Kitchen and bathroom.
I can't have a bathroom with a small island or, you know, like a vanity, excuse me. So like if I show people a house and, you know, I can tell she's a girly girl like me, as soon as I see a little small vanity in there, I'm like,
it's going to kill it.
Yeah, they will. And it's a $200, $400 vanity that can be replaced, but it does not matter. A buyer will literally toss it out of their mind. So I totally get it. So would y'all say that when it comes to preparedness and, you know, kind of evaluating the people who are going to, you know, end up solidifying you guys making money, you guys sit down and have that conversation well before, like the appraiser, for instance, you guys mentioned it a few times. So y'all have like that conversation.
Yes and no, we do. And then I go in and veto everything he says because he's trying to not spend the money. So I go through and say, no, we need this, we need that. He fusses. He tells the workers not to listen to me. And I'm like, no, tile it, no, tile. He's shaking his head no. And I wait and to make them tile it. And then I come back in his tile. And then he's like, I'll have to give it to you. You were right.
Like for me, one of the things that I like to try to stay away from, but sometimes you just can't, and it's a cost that you have to factor in, I guess, is windows. That's heavy. So that's one of the things that I might say I would look and see where the comps are, because if you're trying to squeeze the comps or you're looking for something, you may or may not have to change the windows depending on where you are. Like right now, you probably could do a flip without changing the windows, as long as you tighten up the kitchen and the bath and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But back when we did that particular one, I couldn't take a chance of not having new windows in there because I needed it to appraise. I needed those windows.
And buyers are more savvy now. They see those windows. They know the cost to replace windows. They're walking out the house, even in this market, because they're like, man, we love this house, but they have original windows, and our heating and cooling is going to cost us a fortune. And then, it's going to cost us $5,000 to replace all of the windows, and they're going to walk.
So when it comes to flips, or even just any kind of investment, we'll get to this question in a second. I'm going to save that. But what would you say for, newbie, fresh couples who, don't have any experience in real estate? Literally, they are just looking online, they're watching this live, they're doing stuff like that, but they want to put their money somewhere. So they may not have as much spending cash, but they have enough to, purchase maybe their second home and get started into real estate. What would y'all say for those couples? And we can, each one of you guys can shoot your opinion.
I think a lot of people don't take advantage of the hard money lenders. That's definitely a good way to go. When you don't have experience, you may get a higher interest rate and you may have to jump through a little bit more hoops, but they will take a chance on you if you know your stuff, if you've done your homework and you've lined up, you've got the contractors out there, you've got the estimates on the roof and the framing and the electrical, and you go to the hard money lender with your comps and with your vendor, estimates and stuff like that. You don't need that much money. You just need the down payment, and you need to get it done within a certain amount of time. I would recommend doing it that way. And then you can start small. He's always talking about 2 1s and 2 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm always looking for materials and stuff too. Like there's always people popping up, always little small businesses doing stuff. Like you never stop looking for someone that's getting new in the business, because you create these new relationships and they build with you. Then you can probably get discount pricing and stuff like that. Try to keep it where even your material person is a part of your team if you can. Take advantage of Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. There'd be a lot of hidden gems in those places too.
When you're talking about materials, give them some specifics on what that means.
Sinks,
yeah,
flooring.
Yeah, you're finishing.
So you think people can go on Facebook Marketplace and do that?
I
do.
The sinks in the last place we did in Decatur came from Facebook Marketplace.
I'm dropping gems. I'm just asking.
Day picking up stuff. Those sinks were like $30, girl. Don't play with me.
Wow.
20. Because if he tells me I can't have something, I'm like, okay, so how much is that? So I'll save money somewhere else to get what I want.
Mm-hmm. And okay. So when I worked for flippers, they would have me looking all kind of places. I don't even know, just random places. But I do think it takes a certain level of creativity to go onto Facebook Marketplace. You also got to be savvy enough and not afraid to search the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's what a lot of
it's searching. If I want a nicer granite, I'll have to find something else cheaper somewhere else. So I'm like, now we can get the nicer granite. I saved $1,000.
I think because materials is 80% of
and
your
wood
cost.
Is expensive now.
80% at least of your cost is material. So if you can't find a way to get your material at smaller costs, then you can't do everything at Home Depot. You can't do everything at Amazon.
And you have some of those places that are selling wholesale prices. Like I've gone to pick up all kinds of stuff from Facebook. I can't think of what else I've gotten off of there. Tile. We found our tile guy. What's his name? Mark? What's his name? The fat guy? The tile with the marble?
Did you call him fat guy?
I don't know.
Jorge?
No, the other guy. Anyway, the tile guy we found off there.
Alan.
Found him on Facebook Marketplace. He got a nice tile.
So question, what would you guys say would be the best first, for that same couple I just mentioned, what would be the best first thing that they should start with, based off your opinion and you doing real estate?
Don't do anything that needs structural.
Yeah.
Roof is nothing, but structural is big. No fire damage.
I hate fire.
Water is okay. Mold, water is fine, but no fire damage, no structural. Roof is fine.
But if you're not afraid to put the time in for the inspections, fires can be a deal. Fire damage can be a deal.
That's that framing. That's the structural.
It's tough. But you can
it's costly.
It can be costly.
Find a lot of fire in Atlanta. That's not a thing in Florida. That's not a thing at all. Like
it's cold here. People be trying to warm up.
And sometimes
so y'all have more fireplaces, so it's more fires. But in Florida, like I'll look through inventory. It'd be a crappy house. But here, I would look through inventory, and the crappy house is a burned down house or one that had fire damage. And I'm like, why are there so many fires?
You have to rebuild a fire damaged house because of the wood, the damage to the wood structurally. So that's why I say no to fire, because you buy a house that's fire damaged and you have the inspector come out and find out half of it is done. You gotta reframe it, and that's gonna cost you. So that's why I say no to fire.
But if you get the hard money lender to look that over before you get the funding, they'll incorporate those funds in it. And then if you got the people to kind of squeeze the money from here to over there, you can actually make out with it.
I said we never agreed, didn't I?
Never.
So, all right, you guys, feel free to drop questions in now, and then we'll start to drill through them in a second, because I'm going to wrap up with one last question. So, just to finally finish off on that question, what would you guys say for, what would it be the first one? Should they do rental first? Should they do flipping? Should they not do nothing and hire an agent? What should be their first step into getting involved as a couple in real estate? What would you?
Depends on the property if you rent it. I say my smarter self would buy the property based off of its value, pull the equity out, rent it out, and use the cash to do another property. That's our smarter selves. We bought a duplex for $18,000. We pulled $200,000 out of it. We have 2 tenants in there. Only one tenant is paying the mortgage. The other money goes to Mrs. Lyons. And we took the $200,000 and put in another property, fixed up another property, did other investments. So my smarter self says to do that. And
don't always look at an area as to being a bad area because it's not up yet.
Yeah, it's gonna spread. Because our house where we live at now, 10 years ago, like now, I'd be like, babe, we did it. We made it.
Yeah. All right. So one of the questions that I did get was, what advice would you give to vet contractors?
Contractors.
That is a very good question, actually, because if anybody knows anything about flipping, that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Don't nobody want to swing a hammer no more. Yeah. You know, so it's hard to find people.
To find a vet contractor?
Yo, how would you vet your contractor?
Man. But referrals, I guess you can get them to give referrals, I guess, and have them call
somewhere.
Yeah, call other jobs that they did, and I mean, they're probably only going to give you the good ones that you can call. But somebody always has something to not say, and I ask them about their specialties and what.
Oh yeah, he tries to trip them up. He's horrible.
Yeah.
He asks some difficult questions to see if they have.
Okay. So y'all interview him basically. Huh? Interview.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
So, what is give me one, so you can wrap this up. Give me one funny contractor story. Since I don't think I got any other questions now.
A funny contractor story?
Yeah, something to wrap it up.
I fire contractors all the time. Trevor is a nice guy. He has so much patience. He'll say he's gonna give the guy a chance, and then the guy no shows. So I'll say, is the guy there today? He's like, oh yeah, he showed up. So I'll wait till he's not there. I'll go to the property and fire the whole crew and tell them to go home. We don't need them. I'll hire somebody else and pay them more money just to get them out of there, because I don't like the way that they take advantage of him, because he's so nice. So I'd be like, bye-bye. No, we don't need you. Bye-bye. No, Mr. Trevor, I don't care what Mr. Trevor said. Bye now. No, you didn't come yesterday. You're 2 hours late today. You can go. Goodbye.
I know. I remember my most one that I didn't like. I think about was this plumber, and I was trying to show love. You know, they were Muslim. I was Muslim. I was like, I'm gonna keep the money with the brothers, and they took mad long. But then when I went to check on him, he had his sons doing the work, and I don't know. It looked like he was just connecting pipes. It was, I don't know what the hell that shit looked like. I'm sorry. It was just, some was bigger than the others and smaller, and he had his 2 sons in there.
He didn't want to tell me.
It was just like a bridge, like when a baby is playing with straws.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Tell him what you did. He bought me flowers because I was right.
He said, don't hire them. Stop trying to spread the money with the brothers. Don't hire them.
And he bought me this big, huge bouquet of flowers. And I was like,
that bad.
It was bad. It was bad. And I paid him, and then I had to have somebody come in there and tear it all the way back out.
Oh.
And then he finally confessed and was like, so you was right. I was like, what? He said it was so bad, babe. I can't even tell you.
I'm saying he had his sons helping him.
Do you hire by job or do you just hire by both? We hire
Mostly
by the day or job.
Because I'm so hands-on that I'm more like the GC. So I'm on there. I'm everything. I'm there every day. So I don't really need someone to do that. But I mean, when you have multiple projects going, then yeah, you definitely want to do that. But if you're doing one, you need to be there too, so you can learn and you can see stuff. And you can know when someone's trying to spin you, or when somebody's saying, "Hey, we need more material for this, we need that," and you be like, "How you need that? I measured it. That don't make sense."
But we did that. We was in New York, and we came back. The guy tiled the whole bathroom from floor to ceiling, and he kept saying he need more Dura. What was that stuff?
The Durock.
Durock, and we're like, the bathroom ain't, but like,
yeah.
And he did the tile on all the way to the ceiling, so we ended up having a whole tile. It looked nice,
right?
But
that wasn't the plan.
That was not the plan.
Why would you tile it to the ceiling?
They tiled the whole bathroom.
We trying to have a whole vacation. We came back. I was like, calm down. I said,
they tiled the whole bathroom.
I think sometimes they just get in a mode and they just start like working and then they just be doing stuff. And I think like later, it is funny because you walk through a house later and like, because we've all walked through so many houses, you start to notice stuff like the contractor must have been just tired or just like, he just was out of it to do that sometimes. But all right.
And I want to ask you a quick question before we leave.
Go ahead. Ask me some questions.
You work with investors. What are some challenges that investors give you as an agent trying to help them find the house with, all the criteria that they've given you? What are some challenges that you encounter?
So I will say this. I have not worked with, I take that back. I have worked with a duo. That was actually one of my very first sales, was working with a husband and wife duo in flipping. And what I liked about it, was I like the fact that it was him versus her most of the time. So it helped me a lot of times because I would literally just be like, talk to him, then he would convince her, talk to her, then she would convince him. And so it was helpful because we at least got the sale done, closed, whatever, they made money off of it. But I will say the challenges of working with just investors in general is always like competing against their knowledge. So I have my knowledge, my expertise, and then they have theirs. Where one guy told me I have my numbers, I have mine. Like I had to hold fire a guy one time because he was not hearing anything I was saying, and I'm like, at first, 1 minute he would believe me and he would, be cool. Then the next minute he would be like, I gotta read my numbers. And a lot of times people hire these gurus and these, download this, this worksheet so that way you can, do all your little inputs and all that kind of stuff. And like, he would run his numbers and his numbers wouldn't match what I'm saying. But I'm like, I'm out in the field. I'm on hustling. I'm hitting the block. You're running a sheet. So I respect your numbers, but I'm telling you, you need somebody to, but that's the awesome thing about you guys is she's out and about seeing it. So when you do run your numbers, you can be conservative here, but she can also give you a glimpse into the real world. And a lot of times it's
but
hard.
that's what the challenge is. You ask that. I'm the agent out, and he's the spreadsheet. And I'm like, but dude, I'm telling you, this is what it is, and I'm going against the spreadsheet.
And one thing Valyn has taught me, just especially being in Atlanta, is like the buyers make the market, nobody else. And if a buyer wants to pay some ridiculous price that I don't even agree with, who gonna stop them? You know, I mean, you gotta wait for the appraiser maybe, but like other than that, you know, buyers make the market.
Buyers and sellers.
Sometimes, sometimes I've seen comps. I've recently just pulled a comp, and I'm like, why did they? Who did the appraisal? Who agreed to it? Like, it didn't even make sense to run the comps. I'm like, and so when that stuff happens, it's really all just like such a fluid, like real estate is an art more than it is a science. It's no way to measure it, you know what I mean? So that's probably my hardest challenge, is working with investors, is trying to,
as a numbers person, because you're a numbers girl too.
Yeah, because I love the numbers, and I'll give you my idea of the numbers, but you be like, how you got the numbers? You be like, ooh, a little bit of like gut, a little bit of numbers, a little bit of like, you know, taking my house every day. Like, it's a big mixture. So that's the one thing that I feel like, you know, differentiates from talking to somebody who just buying a house, or it's difficult to say the least. But it's real estate, so you learn the challenges. But I want to sincerely thank you both for logging on today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, you guys are awesome.
We shared some jewels, as the young people say.
Yes, it's gems.
Don't they say that?
It's gems.
Oh, gems.
Yeah, you gotta drop the gems.
It's all the same.
Are you guys open to people reaching out? So I do have your business Instagram on there, but if people want to reach out, questions.
Real Broker ATL, and
I guess the
_flip
404.
_flip 404.
Yes. So I'll make sure when I repost this, you guys, that I will save their @name so you can reach out. I know they have a plethora of knowledge. Just like my last person said, though, go with some really good questions. Do your research before. Don't waste their time. Go with some really good, thoughtful questions, and I'm sure they will respond. So, all right. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you.
Enjoy y'all Monday night.
All right.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.